It has been too long since we have heard that theme grace our channel. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, everybody, to a Saturday night stream. It is August 22nd, 2026, right around 8:30 p.m. Eastern, just before it, 8:29 p.m. Eastern. And it is my great pleasure to welcome everybody one more time back to the world of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks. It is day 47 of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks. We have got a lot going on to go through. We've got a lot to talk about regarding this crazy campaign that we are back into. Very happy to have these folks back. We did a double session last time, which was during ArvCon, and now we are here in August. We were not able to play in June or July because of travel and a variety of other things, and so it is good to be able to get back on the wagon and get back into playing. I am very excited to do that. Before we get there, though, just a couple of reminders about ways to support the channel. If you have not already done so, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube. Thank you to everyone who has been subscribing over there. That has really been helping out. We have had some definite boosts in subscriber numbers. It's free for you to do that, but it really does help us out. You get early access to content and things like that. So please do join us over on the YouTube, and thank you for those who have done so already. Discord is !ArvCord. You can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams, and Blue Sky is !ArvSky. Please follow me over there as well. I'm heading towards 1,300 followers there, which I'm pretty sure would break my record of what I had on Twitter, and with way more engagement than I've ever had on Twitter. So it was very good that I was able to get the hell out of the Twitter morass. So please support me over there as well. Website for this, arvanelloron.com. Financially, !ArvShop. That's the merchandise area. You can get stuff relating to various campaigns. Cool swag for you, which also supports the channel. The Patreon is !ArvTreon. Hoping to make a couple of adjustments to that if we can over the next couple of weeks. But you can get cool stuff there for yourself and cool stuff for the channel as well. Also, subs. If you can sub to the channel, that gives you those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch, and also gives you inspirations to help our tabletop players if you support at a high enough level. Same thing with the Patreon for that as well. On the publishing front, !Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts, !Library. That's my Tales and Tomes, The Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, and !Greyshade is my Greyshade IP. Greyshade, Renegade, Heretic, the Grey Assassin trilogy available at that link. You can also get the audiobooks of Greyshade, Renegade, and Heretic at that link, and you can get the tabletop role-playing game. You can pre-order that also at that link, again with !Greyshade. And again, as I said, don't forget about !Icarus, my graphic novel, or !Library, my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and sourcebook. And last but certainly not least, !BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. !Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And !Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage. And we send the message we'll do so for others in that situation in the future. Continued love as well to the people of Minnesota, specifically Minneapolis, the people of Biddeford, Maine, people of Memphis, Tennessee, the people of Newark, New Jersey, all those who are continuing to battle against federal occupation and invasion and making a real difference. In doing so, we see you, we love you. Please keep it up. It does make a big difference. Quick schedule note, we've got this going on today. We will be off Sunday and Monday. We will be back Tuesday with the Gamebook illustration stream of the month as we get back into that. Tari Toons will be there to illustrate Car Wars Fuels Gold as chat makes the decisions. That's going to be a good time. And then over on GOG.com's Twitch channel will be Pen and Pixels as I continue with the Lamplighters League. And that will be my final pre-WorldCon 2026 stream. I will then be flying out on Wednesday to WorldCon in LA. Very excited for that. I have 3 panels there. I'm going to be moderating a panel on Tolkien and Le Guin on Thursday. I've got a virtual reading on, I think, on Saturday. And I have a panel going on Friday about populating fantasy worlds. And then I have, of course, the big D&D event, a first for WorldCon, first ever live actual play tabletop event in front of an audience. That'll be happening Friday. Very excited for that. And then Saturday, that virtual reading. And then Sunday, one more panel on collaborative storytelling around tabletop play. Not that, I mean, who these days plays tabletop games. I mean, really. I am very excited, obviously, for that. That's going to be a good time. And then we'll be coming back here. And my daughter is going to be with me, by the way, if anyone wants to meet little Arvin is out there. Then I'll be coming back here, and we'll have one set of streams on Tuesday before I move into the fall semester. We get to Labor Day weekend and then fall. I'm going to be very busy fall ahead with hopefully some very big news on the publishing and other fronts and channel fronts too. So very excited for all of that. But right now the time has come for us to bring back the crew of Expedition. I'm very excited for that. And I am going to unmute myself and apologize to anyone that I interrupted because I couldn't hear them. And then I'm going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, head over to reveal to you the full crew. Do not adjust your television sets. It is true. They are all here and ready to go. And I am excited. They have informed me that they will destroy all comers. They said that the last battle against a crystalline structure was not enough damage. And they asked if I could do twice that damage next time. So I said, sure. This is totally a conversation that happened. I'm kidding. Having said all that, it is great to see all of these lovely people here, and I will begin with the person at the top left of the screen, who is the person that I saw least recently, because I've seen these other folks in other contexts. But it is good to see you, Rhiannon. How are you? Rhiannon Held, welcome. How's everything with you and all that, and who are you playing this evening?
Things have gone well. I did my first major speed jigsaw puzzling event last weekend.
Really? All right. Did you win?
And I made it out of the preliminaries into the finals.
Wow.
I did not expect to place for a trophy in the finals, and in fact, I did not. But I was pretty psyched. That was my goal, was to make it into the finals.
That's awesome.
Why has this not been Twitch streamed? I'm sorry. Like a speed puzzle. That's awesome.
Actually, I am probably not logged in, but I can drop a link in the somewhere because it was live streamed on YouTube.
Oh yeah, let's go. I would totally watch that. I'm not even joking.
They have to have sports commentators and everything. And Rhiannon, you're
difficult play.
They do somewhere that's been streamed on Twitch.
That's really cool, though. Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I was also going to explain that my shirt does have something. This must be a mocktail. That cat looks a little young to be having a real cocktail. It's my summer shirt.
That is about as summery as a shirt gets. I love
it. Anyway, so I'm playing Vervina, half-elf, divine soul sorcerer. So healing, good. Bedside manner, bad.
It's bad. What did you call yourself? I thought.
I was like,
Sataria, right? Like I heard Vervina.
I said the wrong. I flipped it. It's Sataria Vervina.
Sataria Vervina.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. For a second, I was like, tell us about this other character you
have. I'm only allowed to have one player, which is Tren, who's perpetually being like, wait, no, that's the other campaign. So I'm not allowed to do that for this. But always a pleasure to have Rhiannon back. Congratulations on the jigsaw puzzling. That's freaking awesome. Seriously, do at some point drop the link in like later on tonight, because I would love to see that. Okay, moving right along. I did see this person because this person and the next person I'll introduce afterwards played with me at a live Dungeons and Dragons event, which took place at Gen Con, which was pretty cool. And they had a chance to actually do, I don't think I mentioned this, Zach, but they actually had a chance to play the same thing that I ran at Roleplay by the Bay.
Right.
So I got a chance to see how a group of not exclusive cancer research scientists, handle this exact thing. And it was a lot of fun seeing both of them. But that, of course, the first one of those people is Toya Kristen Finley. It's good to see you, Toya. I hope all is well and that you're hanging in there okay. I am curious because I also see a cool shirt. Can you describe this cool shirt and then tell us who you're playing tonight?
Yes, I also have a summary shirt, except I have corgis on it.
Are those surfboarding corgis?
There's a surfboarding corgi. There's a corgi in an inner tube. They're all in a pool.
Outstanding.
There's a corgi with a butt, popping out. There's a corgi with sunglasses. Corgi with
I love it.
All sorts. There's also a kitten that is riding on an inflatable corgi.
I think that's fine or troubling. I don't know. I'm going to assume it's fine.
Let me see if I can. Maybe. Right here.
See
it?
I think, yeah.
No.
You see
well,
it? No, sorry.
Wrong. With a pool
now
you've disappeared into the void.
Just trust me, it's there.
Okay.
Anyway.
I trust you.
I did find it very amusing when you said, I saw this person at Gen Con, both LaShawn and I unmuted at the same time.
Well, I was gonna say, like, both of you in a row. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But yes, I will be playing Nals Darkly, also known as Nalik. She is a human bard.
And by the way, Toya, on the workshop thing, we'll have a chance to have you talk about that at the end as well. Once we get mods in here, we'll get that added, and I will add it if I have to, but towards the end. But I'm letting you know I have not forgotten about that.
I appreciate that.
Always a pleasure to have Toya with us. And yes, the other person who I saw who played with us, stepping in for Brandon O'Brien, who was not able to come, was LaShawn M. Wanick, who I first met at the Writers' Symposium, so very appropriate. But it's good to see you, LaShawn. And now, LaShawn, I had a head fake because I thought that LaShawn had a logo on her baseball cap, which she did not have. And so there we go. Do you have some cool summary shirt that you want to tell us about, LaShawn, or not so much, for you? And also, who are you playing tonight?
Well, yeah, I'm not really, I don't have anything on my hat, but I do happen to be wearing a Viable Paradise t-shirt.
Nice. There you go.
And so there we go. Yeah, so I work at Viable Paradise, which is a writer's workshop that takes place on Martha's Vineyard every October. And we bring in 24 students and basically cram their heads full of writing knowledge. And I speak as someone who graduated from the Bible Paradise workshop. So we've had a lot of people graduate and do amazing things.
Yeah.
So I think we've already gotten our class for this year, but usually applications open up every first of the year for the following year. So feel free to apply and send us your work, and maybe I'll see you on the island.
On the island, yes. Very cool
Yes.
stuff. Good stuff out of Viable Paradise.
Yep. And so tonight I'll be playing Raven Galliner. Yeah, Gallinar. It's been a while actually since we've done this, so I have to get my head back into her. But yes, she is an Lorendi who is she's dealing with a lot of stuff, but also she manages to hold her own. So it's been a lot of fun playing her.
I am excited to see what she gets up to tonight. I'm sure there'll be nothing problematic about this place at all that could cause any problems for anybody. Always a pleasure to have LaShawn with us. And last but certainly not least, as Zach and I were talking about earlier today, this is for me, it's been I talked about, Shark Week. This has been Zach Week. Of course, for Zach, it's always Zach Week. But Zach and I have seen each other quite a bit this week. I did see Zach at Gen Con as well. But then I've had a chance to see Zach for our vocalists, and I got to see him for our Gloomhaven playthrough. And now we get to see him again for Expedition. So it's good to see you, Zach. How are you in the last couple of days since I spoke to you and all that? And who are you playing tonight?
Yeah, I am glad and happy to be a Arvin Elrond channel regular. This is a great channel. Happy to be here and to play here for the show. Yeah, we were having a riveting discussion in the green room about character design choices and Genshin Impact and other things.
I wonder who started that conversation. Who among this group is a little bit of a Genshin Impact fan?
Well, actually, you'd be wrong because I started the conversation.
You did? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness! I thought it was LaShawn.
Yeah, no. But anyway, yes, I am here. I had a zinger ready for my intro and I forgot what it was, so I'm just gonna have to go right into my character introduction. And then at a random point during your recap, I'm just going to be like, hey, want to hear something funny? Yes. Also, as you may notice, the hole in the curtains of my window is projecting the sun right onto me. So
did notice that.
I will, have fun. I'm being targeted by an
I was just going to say,
now.
It feels like maybe it's like a laser sniper. I was kind of disturbing.
Anyway, I am playing Dr. Keldon Jaraxis, a Dendus Cybermancer, who was the only one in the party that dropped to 0 hit points last time. And this is a regular thing that happens. Welcome to the campaign.
That is right. It is a constant tanking sort of circumstance. I will say, I'm going to say one other thing to this group, which I already showed Zach before, but I'm showing it to this group because, as we said, the last time I saw these folks, it was ArvCon, and they opened up with the first ever double back-to-back pre-show, and then the next night another one. So I got an envelope the other day from Tiltify, which is the thing that does the charity, like the site where I host all the charity stuff for ArvCon. And in that envelope there was a banner. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it's that blue one. You probably can't see the words well, but it says Lifetime Achievement Award. And the reason is because I got in there a pin that says 7.5K lifetime fundraising, another pin that says 10K lifetime fundraising, and another pin that says 25K lifetime fundraising, because we have raised well over $40,000 on Tiltify using that site to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. And you folks got that started this year with your ArvCon stuff. So I was very excited about that. And I've been sharing it with people because I feel it's like something I'm very proud of with the community as a community thing. And I think it's very cool that we were able to do that. So I wanted to thank you all again. And that's been put a smile on my face. Completely did not know I was going to get that. And I was like, what is this envelope? And then I was like, oh, sweet. So anyway, it was very cool. So I wanted to share that with these lovely people who helped make it happen. All right. With all that said, let us talk a little bit about what happened in our last session. Let me fire up here. Let's see. What was I using? I was using this, I believe. So let's do that. Okay. So if you have not been following the campaign to this point, I encourage you to go check out the VODs. When you come back, we will no longer be here live, because but you'll be able to watch all the VODs and then you'll see this too. But there's been a lot happening in this campaign. We came together as a group featuring two characters from more traditional fantastic backgrounds. And that ended up being originally Nulls Darkly and Fob, played by Cat Rambo. Cat had to step aside, and so we were joined by Rhiannon playing Sataria Verbin, who was sort of transported because of this strange experience of the veil between the worlds becoming thinner and thinner, and thus doing weird things like bringing people across, planes and across time and space and distance to be able to end up in different places. So that Nulls and Sataria, who are from the planet and the land of Thalos, know something a little bit about that planet, whereas Raven and Dr. Jaraxxus are two of the spacefaring characters who have found their way here in different ways. In fact, you can see that Jaraxxus is plummeted almost to his death, but fortunately, a levitation platform is
totally didn't just lower my standing desk.
It was really funny because all of a sudden I just saw your head drop and then the desk slowly falling. Anyway, so they found their way here to the planet of Thalos. Without going into great detail about why, because it would take too long to explain, again, you can see some of these things in the recaps that we've done previously. The group has determined that the real threat to Thalos and frankly to the Silrain arc beyond it are these strange creatures called the Caridin. Essentially, the Caridin apparently were a group of creatures that originally intended to be immortal. They were magic-using creatures with scientific knowledge. They used that towards terrible ends, and the result was these strange shadow creatures that ended up causing enormous damage until they were eventually sealed away, basically in their own plane of existence. But the Caridin are essentially immortal, or so it seems, and they have never stopped trying to get back into this plane of existence since that time. And what both Nulls and Sataria and now Raven and Jaraxxus have experienced are these creatures breaking through as the veil gets thinner and thinner and being able to influence the minds of those in this plane. It has caused several Primarchs to either lose their minds or actually destroy themselves as a consequence of the Caridin's influence. And there have been a couple of times where the party has run into sort of shadow avatar versions of the Caridin, I guess I would say, which have been plenty terrifying enough. And so they discovered when they went to the Centurion, which was this ship that went down on Thalos that sort of started all this process happening in the first place in some ways. When the Thalos when the Centurion landed on the Thalos, the characters manage to go into this ship and discover some information about it, including the idea that they need to figure out some of the power sources, find these power sources so that they can permanently lock the Caridin away forever. So we're not going to have this, whoops, it's almost weakening, the locks are almost free, blah, blah, blah. So to do that, they have had to track down a couple of things. One of them, they know, is the Magitech's forges, which they found in the Centurion, control unit. And they know that that is somewhere in this land of Avasaria. And if we jump over to the map quickly, you will see that the party is now, in fact, in this land of Avasaria, not actually all that far west from where Sataria originally came from, actually. And they're now in this sort of beautiful village verdant landscape with some problems. We'll talk about that. They have to be able to find this thing. And when they actually arrived there and went into the portal, into this place, they found this place that looked all the world for just like a nice sort of peaceful village, which apparently they were told is run by two Primarchs, two sisters that run this village and the land of Avasaria more generally. But there's clearly some trouble in Paradise. They heard some grumbling about it, but nothing specific, until, as they were walking through the marketplace, this market stand, was consumed by a crystalline black hole. And appearing from this crystalline black hole was what is known as, and I'm not joking, it actually is even called this in the campaign, a crystalline horror. Which they then battled. They fought bravely and, in fact, had done a fair bit of damage to it. However, it was still doing a lot of damage back to them, as Jaraxxus already mentioned. Jaraxxus was brought low by this creature. Gamork was hurt by it. And, in fact, just as a quick hit point check, Nulls, I think you did not get hurt. You were 45 out of 45, right?
Yes.
Still hit points. Sataria, you did get hit by it. 16 out of 26 I had you at. Okay. Raven, you were hit once. 31 out of 41 is what I had you at. I mentioned Gamork was hurt, although is okay, but was hurt. And then Jaraxxus went down to 0, but has now been brought back thanks to Sataria's amazing healing to 24 out of 33 is what I have you at, right? And so just at the very end of our last session, the crystalline horror was destroyed completely by the appearance of the green-cloaked sort of mage guard, if you will, that is known as the Verdant Guard. They showed up, they destroyed them, and basically said, oh, what's going on here? Was the last thing that you heard from them. And so with that, I am going to ask you, I'm going to hand things over to the party, and I'm going to say exactly that, which is that the guards come up having dealt with all of these, issues, and the guards come up, start talking to people, and all of the locals who are still left are all pointing at all of you and like whispering, like, and so the guard come over to face you. Jaraxxus, at this point, I would imagine that you're like sitting up maybe and like a little woozy possibly, but
yes.
And they come over and the one says, all right, we heard that there was some trouble here and that you were the ones that actually saved the people. We're curious if you could tell us what that means. What happened here? And they sort of say that to all four of you.
So Nulls will approach and say, can you help us heal our friend here, and we'll be happy to share?
I should be able to do that, I think. And he leans down and he says, which one of you is the most hurt? Because he can see a few of you are hurt. He pointedly does not look in the direction of Gamork, by the way. Gamork was part of it. Yeah, we did bring him into the village. Okay, yes. So he's not looking at Gamork, but he's looking at the four of you. And he says, which one of you is the most hurt? Okay. So he says, he's like, all right then. Well, hold still for just a moment. And he brings his staff. Now, the staff itself has a green-tipped, it looks like a clear crystal that's being held in this kind of mounted in the top of the staff. And the tip of the crystal is green. And as he touches you with it, Jaraxxus, you feel this sort of warmth flow through your body, and you are, in fact, healed to full hit points. And he looks around and he says, all right, is there anyone else?
I'm like, well, sorry, can save her spells, but would she let I don't think she'd let anybody else
The
heal
professional
her.
pride thing. You think is like
Yeah,
this is? Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Because he does
so,
he does look at you and he's kind of like, hmm.
no, I think she's gonna heal Gamork.
Okay.
Um, so he's pretty wounded.
Yeah. He definitely looks. He's not like at death's door, but yeah, he got hurt pretty hard.
Okay.
A couple
I'll
times he actually
upcast then.
charged the crystalline creature. Hi, Antlers. Hello.
Did it? Are we gonna? Oh, sorry. It's not linking from D&D Beyond.
It's not?
That's where my character sheet is. So
Mm.
let me try one more time.
Because I see the cure wounds from last time, which I think came out of D&D Beyond.
Yeah, I need to. It's reloading
Okay.
slowly.
Okay.
I'm looking at the Roll20 loading screen.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So cast that. There
it
we
is.
go. Okay.
Huzzah. 12. Okay. Yeah, so you do this, and Gamork sort of growls softly and sort of turns his head a little bit. And you can see him take a couple of padding steps towards the Verdant Guard, who looks a little bit like kind of, backs off, like slightly recoils a bit, and then Gamork and kind of growls something at you and then turns away.
You're welcome.
And
Yeah.
Null sees that the Verdant Guard's a little taken aback, and she says, "We can assure you he is with us, and he did make a very brave sacrifice against that creature."
Strange things when these large wolves, that's a dire wolf that is, strange days when dire wolves themselves are helping people, but, well, if you say so, I'll believe it. It seems like everyone was pointing at all of you, so. Okay, so 12, what's that, 11 for?
That's on herself.
Okay.
I love that. That was like second level that rolled badly, and then first level that rolled well.
Okay.
So
So you got
who
11 and
knows?
12. Great. Okay, so you're back up to full then, I think, Sataria. Okay. All right, so the only ones that are left over, Gamork still has a little healing left, and that would be Raven. And so the guard turns in your direction and kind of, again, is not going to do so without your consent, but you did see this one heal Jiraxis, so it's up to you.
Yeah, Raven sort of like studies him very warily and she's like, I think I'm gonna stay for now. I may be able to walk. I I'm good. I'm good. So she's basically studying and not exactly trusting just yet.
He nods.
There's
So, okay, yeah, he nods and he says, all right then, very well. And he stands up and he says, so, can you tell us, we've got an investigation to do here, but can you tell us what it is that you saw? And you can see that the other members, there's 3 other guards that are currently like chatting with the locals and who are all like doing the sort of universal sign for, like, describing like the fight and like, and they're sort of, and pointing over at what used to be a stand. You notice that even with the defeat of like this thing, the stand, there's crystal shards everywhere and the stand is just destroyed. Like there's nothing left of it or the person running it. And so the one says, can you tell us exactly what you saw? What happened?
This crystalline creature appeared out of nowhere, almost as if it had come from another dimension. You can see the remains of it on the ground.
And he kind of looks down. He uses his staff, the tip of his staff, to like basically move it a little bit, and there's a little tinkling sound as the crystals move. And he says, I see. All right, then we're going to have to do what we can to find out more about this. All right. And he turns and he says, the market's going to be closed down for the moment. And you hear this. Rah, rah, rah. And he's like, no. We can't take a chance of reopening it right this second. Don't worry. We'll have it open soon. But we've got to make sure there's nothing else that's likely to pop out. And he turns back to you and says, in the meantime, if you wouldn't mind not going too far, we may have more questions for you down the line. And he kind of nods at you and turns away. And as you're standing there sort of looking at him, you hear someone from behind you say, "Psst."
We all turn and look.
He, you see kind of a sort of a wizened old woman, long gray hair, who's standing there. And you can see that she has what looks like she has these, gnarled fingers that are on what looks sort of like a walking stick. But her eyes are gleaming and bright and very sharp. And she says, "So, thank you for saving the market. I thought you might want to hear those ones that you've just been talking to, the guard there." And she's looking around all the time. "They're not telling you the whole story."
We suspected. We've heard things in what people did not say about them and the fear of being heard.
"That's what it is." And she kind of like gestures you, backs up a couple steps and you can see now that she actually is standing next to what must be her own stand. And on the stand there are a number of what look essentially like clay pots and vases and things like that, and urns and stuff like that. Quite a number of them on this stand, on the table in front of this stand. And so she backs up so that it makes it look as if you're like, "Hey, just chatting with you about some stuff," even though, because the verdant guard's looking the other way, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, "This isn't the first one of these things that we've seen. At least, it's not the first incident that there's been. The last of them, it only happened a couple of days ago, right near the outskirts of Galifel. There was this roaring sound, and, I know this because my son, he's over on the other side of the market. He saw, it was a bear, but it was a crystalline bear. Like, the whole thing was made of crystal, and it roared, and it attacked, and the guards showed up a minute later and destroyed it. But my son saw it for sure. And then the minute that happened, the verdant guard quarantined that part of the city. No one could go to that edge of the village and see anything. They said they were still doing this investigation. Well, if you ask me, the only thing they're investigating is how to keep the people from just losing their minds, and they're scared. There's a lot of fear. No one knows exactly what's happened, but, look." And she points over there, says, "There's old Jasper. His stand's gone, and so's he. We'll never see him again, and that's for certain. And all they can do is just cordon off more spaces and say that they're working on it. There's something wrong, that's all I know." And she kind of and then she does this sort of exaggerated, pointing at the vases, as if that's what she's doing. Not the most smooth thing you've ever seen in your life, but it probably would work since the verdant guard is not really paying attention to you at the moment anyway.
So did Jasper speak out about them? Could this be like a punishment of him?
No, I don't think so. Jasper normally just tried to keep his head down and didn't want to ever focus any attention on anything but the stuff he was selling, I suppose. No, old Jasper, he just kept to himself mostly.
There goes that theory.
Draxus looks at this woman and says, does this crystal look like anything that is sold in the town? Does the material look familiar in any way?
No, not that I've seen. In fact, there's not really crystal to be found much in our area. I've heard if you go over into the mountains there, there's tons of crystals to be found, but most of us have never been much beyond the bounds of this village. Those of us who do travel, well, we don't spend a lot of time elsewhere. Why would we? This place was always, she kind of looks around, paradise until recently. That's when everything started to break down. And there's other things. There was a man. His name was Franklin. He lives over to the north side of Galifel. He said his dog turned into a bush, like a shrub, and his dog's gone. I don't know. I thought maybe he was just been too into the sauce, but well, you put it together, something's really strange.
And the shards, and Knowles looks down at the ground. When these things started appearing, were the shards cleaned up? Did anybody take pieces of them, test them at all?
Oh, I imagine the guard did. They didn't tell anyone about it, though. They just said that they were doing their investigations. But if you were to go back to the edge of the city, I mean, they wouldn't let you in right now, but you can see it from a distance, and, well, there's no sign of any crystal bear. I imagine they won't be able to keep the market closed forever. I don't think they'll have any crystals left here either. They do seem to be taking it somewhere, but I don't know where.
Speaking of which, Draxus kind of looks around, and given that we're in the immediate aftermath of this, is it possible for Draxus to look around really quick and see if there are any crystals laying about that the guards have not grabbed?
Yes,
Yeah, Knowles was about to ask the same thing.
Yeah. I don't think it'll take a perception check or anything. There's plenty of them around. Now, you will probably need to make a check to see if they notice you picking it up or not. Not a super tough check because they're a little occupied at the moment, but yeah.
Seems like a
Knowles wants to
perfect
do something
opportunity
first.
for someone to distract.
Since we're standing in front of the vases, she wants to turn a vase so that she can see the verdant guard in the vase and see what they're doing.
These
see
are
if
made
they're,
of
like,
clay,
watching.
though, not shiny. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good thought, though. I literally just went, this is not the life of a DM. I'm like, I wonder if the glaze is reflected. No, the glaze is not reflected enough to see the guard.
I look at Setaria and say, you went to school for magic. Magic can create distractions. And I mean, it's either me or you, because I'm just distracting myself. But do you have any ideas for distracting the guards?
I mean, I could also go talk to them and ask them technical questions. I mean, it's not my area of expertise, but you learn at school how to. Go ahead.
Raven says, actually, I can probably distract them just as easily.
All right, give it a shot.
So Raven goes over and to the guards and says, you know what? Ow. I think maybe I was wrong to hold off on not getting healed. I mean, I thought I could basically stand this pain, but actually now I feel like it's getting worse. Can you heal me, please?
And so one of the guards turns towards you. Make a deception check for me, please, Raven.
Deception. Oh, interesting. Huh. It didn't. I clicked on the thing and it didn't work.
Didn't do the
Okay,
thing?
we'll just roll.
That happened with Rhiannon trying to do something too, so I don't know if initially.
Okay. But that's a D20, right?
Yes, D20, and it would be charisma, I think, but you may have the skill already, in which case it'll
Yeah.
just...
So, D20. Oh, well.
Well,
Plus 3 is 6.
6. So the
Oh, yeah. Actually,
is there something else?
no, God. Yeah, I'm good.
So the guard is kind of like, all right, just hang on a moment, all right? We've got some things that we're dealing with here. We'll attend to you. And you realize, Raven, that in the looking at you is sort of looking for pretty much at your companions at the same time, sort of looking past you. So you're kind of like, and he's just sort of looking in this direction. And the old woman becomes very interested again in the vases. Like, oh, well, here. Showing you the glaze. You see, this doesn't reflect anything, guards.
Is it, how many guards are we actually having to worry about here? Is
4.
it just one? Okay, great.
I mean, Sataria, I think Sataria is gonna go help. I don't know if she's gonna be good at helping.
Okay.
Um,
Depends on how you're
But-
helping, I guess.
so she's gonna go over to Raven and be like, "I told you I could take care of it, but you always got to do your own thing." And like, is my healing not good enough for you? You saw that
At
I
first,
heal-
and first Raven stares at her, and then she's like, "Oh, well, oh, I mean, your healing's fine too, but." And she's casting around. It's like, and then she's like, "Look, I just don't like it when you heal me. You got it always you make these weird sounds when you do it. It kind of makes it weird."
The guard is like is looking back and forth between the two of you. Go ahead and Satari, I'll have you make a deception check for me, please.
Okay.
I think you can do this at +2 because of Raven's assistance. Oh, jeez.
Peace.
So the guard is like, look, just whatever the heal, it doesn't matter who heals who. All right, we'll take care of it. You just give us a moment. All right, just wait here. The other guard, one of the other guards, has now turned in your general direction. Also, is kind of looking over that way.
Oh, so at this point, Raven's realizing that she's looking, so she goes, "Oh, well, if you're not going to help me, then I'm just going to find another healer." And so she starts hobbling away, but very, very dramatically.
Okay.
Like hobbling and like kind of moves away from the others, and like she's dragging her leg. It's like, "Look, this is really hurting me, and I don't. If you guys can do it now, then I'm just gonna find someone who can, because this hurts."
So a lot of the other
And she's
the people in the market are kind of like, starting to like, they are sort of noticing you doing this. Okay, while you're walking away, so what I'll say is,
she's dramatically dragging her leg behind her.
yeah, I got that.
And at
Yeah,
some
totally.
point she trips and falls, but it's a really lame fall. So now she's like crawling on the ground and
Okay, so what I'll say is, if Nulls or Jaraxxus, who are the two that are near the crystal at the moment, crystal in pieces, if one of you wants to try to get this, I'll allow you to basically make a sleight of hand check to see if you can get, which is a dexterity-based thing, to see if you can actually get one of these crystals. But you're still going to be doing it at disadvantage unless the one of the two of you, I suppose, is able to help boost this attempted deception from Raven and then Sataria. So, and of course, Chat can also compensate if Chat has got an inspiration available too. So, go ahead, Zach.
Jaraxxus is going to the talent I haven't used. I don't think I've used this at all yet. Called illusory form,
Okay.
which is a metaphase talent that says you manipulate the visible spectrum to create the image of an object, a creature, or some other visible phenomenon that is no larger than a 15-foot cube, and it's purely visual. You can use your action to cause it to move and alter its appearance so that its movements appear natural.
Okay.
So Jaraxxus's plan is that I'm going to cast this spell, and it's not disguise self. Like I can create, I'm altering what is visible in a 15-foot area. So what I'd like to do is, I guess, pick up some of the crystals, and then actually walk over to the guards and offer the crystals to the guards, like I'm being helpful.
Okay.
But in doing so, I'm going to use illusory form to, as I hand them crystals, I'm using the illusion to make it seem like I have less than I actually have. And while I'm being truthful and I'm like, here you go, here are the crystals, and I'm handing over a bundle of it, I actually am using an illusion to hide the fact that I'm still
Interesting.
holding on to some.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so I'll allow you to do this as I will give you a deception check. There's so much weird stuff going on now that they're probably more distracted. So I will allow you to do this deception check. I'll give you, I think I'll give you advantage on this deception check, Draxus. If
Great.
that works, then you'll have some crystal, and theoretically, I guess Nulls could try to grab one too at that point, depending. But let's one miracle at a time. So first of all, deception. I'll give this to you at advantage.
Before we enact this plan, Nulls, do you have any special sauce you can give me, like a
Um,
bardic
I
inspiration
can-
or guidance or something?
I can guide you.
Okay.
I say, I'm going to attempt to get some of this crystal for myself. Give me some of your special magic, please.
Okay, and Nulls has done so.
Okay, great. Draxus grabs some of the crystals off of the ground, and instead of risking them seeing him pocket it, literally, he's just going to hold it out with one hand and then have his other hand at his side and make it appear like his other hand is completely open and empty,
Okay.
but it actually is clutching
Okay.
crystal. All right,
I love it.
so I'll do deception, which for me is a +2. I'll roll the d4 first for guidance. So that's
Nice.
a 4 on the d4. So that's already an 18. That's an 18.
18. Okay. All the guards look at you. How dare? No, I'm just kidding. They don't do that. So the guards are. Oh, okay, all right. Now, put the rest of
Found
them
these
down.
crystals.
Put the rest of them down, citizen. There's no. We'll handle the
I
rest.
lowered
You know.
myself to the ground and
Yeah,
put them on the ground.
They do not notice that you have some left over, and so you do have a few. I would say probably 3 Nulls. You probably have an opportunity to grab one. It would probably be a separate deception check for you, though. Draxus has already succeeded at the 3, so it's up to you if you want to try it. But you might, I'm just letting you know you might not get it. So
Yeah, I think since we have successfully nabbed some, I'm not going to, draw the ire of the guards potentially.
okay.
But Sherlock.
So you're able to bring the crystal back. And
Draxus would like to ask the guard something.
oh sure.
He says, one of the concerned citizens nearby mentioned that this is not the first time this has happened, something like this. I'm curious who is investigating where these attacks are coming from, and if there is maybe some way we can help.
And the one says, this is a different one that you were talking to from before. The members of the Verdant Guard are investigating, and we'll contact you after the investigation is over for more information. Our work is proceeding. And kind of nods.
Great.
You also can see behind Draxus that there are a couple of glowing green, what looks sort of like, how would I describe this? Sort of like almost like a beam of green light that appears to be surrounding now the area where the battle took place. You wonder if this is kind of a sort of like it's like a fantastic police tape. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
do not disturb this area, whatever. That's what it's like. And you can see one of the guard is there and is sort of shooing some of the members of the market, away from that section. So yeah, but the guard, that's what the guard says that you're talking to.
Is one of the guards responsible for creating this
Yes, it looks like
green
it.
spotlight?
It looks like it, yeah.
Is it like a spell that they're casting, or is it like a special device that they activate? And does the spotlight have like a ceiling, or is it just a green spotlight that goes all the way up to the moon?
It's not a spotlight. It's
Okay.
it's a beam that's going on around
Like a green ring almost?
that, yeah. You'd be better able to talk when I blow my nose. 1 second. Okay. Right. It is it's essentially a green line that is essentially surrounding the area in question. So it's like waist high. And it very
So,
much is
yeah.
sort of a, when I said police tape, that is actually what I meant. It's this area that's cordoning off that area. So it doesn't shoot up into the sky. It's a beam
Okay.
that clearly one of the guards created. You can see it's not coming from their staff anymore. So they must have done it and now they're just standing there. But it was
Right.
obviously made by them because it wasn't there before. And the guards don't look freaked out that it's there. So they must have done it, presumably.
Jaraxxus then, as it has been some time since us as players, controllers of these characters have played, Jaraxxus would like to speak to Elsie. Although, is that something only Nalik can do?
At the moment, unless
Okay.
Nalik makes it visible, makes Elsie visible.
Jaraxxus walks over to. First, Jaraxxus goes over to Raven, picks her up off the ground, and says, "All right, we got what we needed. You can stop." And then we
And
walk.
Raven looks at him and goes like, ow.
I see.
Because a lot of it wasn't actually play acting.
He says, "Are you actually still hurt, or did you hurt yourself pretending to be hurt?"
I honestly don't really
Okay,
know.
we'll resolve this. We walk over to Nalik, and Jaraxxus says, "This is curious, and I wonder if maybe we can do two things. The first, my thought is to ask Elsie or any of you, maybe Sataria and all of you, to analyze these crystals, maybe understand something about this. And then the second thing is that I think during that fight and those crystals hitting me, my memory is, I feel dizzy and woozy, and I'm having trouble remembering what we're doing here and what our goals are. So it would be convenient if our lovely voice companion could remind us what we are. Who am I? What is my name? I'm just kidding." Jaraxxus says, "But yes, maybe we find like a quiet area away from the market to take a moment."
So Nal's asked the old woman where we can go that would be quiet and where we probably who knows what the surveillance is like, but someplace where we probably aren't going to be watched.
And she says, "Well, it's not going to be all that easy to find a place that's completely outside of where the guard could see you. They're not spending a lot of time, from what I can tell, looking for people or surveying them, but, well, there's definitely not the same kind of trust there used to be. When the Verdant Guard showed up, we would all feel better about it, and now they just sort of make people nervous.
What happened?
Well, it's just these things. These incidents, dog turning into a bush and the crystal creatures falling out and blowing up market stands, and every time the guard shows up and just says they're going to investigate, and they cordon off the area, and that's it. They don't give us any information, and, well, it's making people talk and making them nervous. It ain't been the same, really, since Ashero left. If he had still been here, well, maybe there'd be something, but since he's been gone, nothing."
And who is Asherol?
Oh, he's the leader of the Verdant Guard. Well, he's the leader of the Green Wizards. The Verdant Guard are all taken from all of them. They're called green on account of their cloaks, you see. But Asherol hasn't been seen in weeks, and they won't tell us about that either. They just say, "Never mind," and then tell us about investigations, and then we have to leave, and, well, I don't know. It's a mess, that's all. But as far as where you all can go to try to speak with each other, there's areas maybe near the outskirts of the village. You could go to Iridian's Tavern. That one's not exactly quiet, but not one person spends time looking at just one person. There's a lot to see there. They might not notice you specifically.
Well, we were going to head to Iridian's anyway, so this might be the perfect opportunity.
And she nods. Seems reasonable. If you get there, you should talk to the one who's part of it. The manager of Iridian's Tavern is a man named Devin Hux. He used to adventure everywhere. He was one of the few people in the village who'd been many other places throughout, the continent, really. He might know something about these things. But in any case, he respects the guard, but he's not the guard's servants. He has his own mind. Oh, and his mind is really important. I hope your mind isn't made up, and I hope that matters. And you can see that she's starting to polish this glazed clay vase. And as you look around, you can see that is possibly because a verdant guard is walking towards you.
And I say, well, we'll be here a bit longer, so we might come back. But thank you so much for showing us your wares. They're very beautiful.
And the old woman says, "Oh yes," and then kind of gives you an elaborate wink, and works back on the pots again. And the verdant guard, who was the first one that you spoke to, comes up and says, "All right, well, we're grateful for your help and for your assistance. I know that you've just come into the village, but we're grateful that you helped out now. Now, I must ask you, we're probably going to be tracking you down soon to ask you some more questions about this, so I hope you don't have plans to be leaving Galifel anytime soon."
No, and in fact, we planned on visiting the Verdant Guard at some point anyway.
All right, then. Well, when you do, make sure that you let them know that you've spoken to members of the Verdant Guard already, and we'll see what we can do to expedite your conversation. And in the meantime, I would also ask you, let's not engage in any storytelling, spreading wild rumors. Things have been a little unsettled over the last couple of weeks, and the last thing we want is people panicking. So if you could sort of keep what happened today, more or less to yourselves, we'd be grateful.
Unsettling. What else has happened beyond what happened here today?
Well,
That-
our
that sounds
investigations
terrible.
aren't complete. When we finish them, believe me, we'll be letting everyone know, and you'll be part of that since you were involved in this incident. But right now, all that we're authorized to say is just, don't go too far. I can also say that the dryer is not finished. That's finished brewing. That's important too.
Well, do let us know if we can be of any help, including with the dryer.
We'll do what we can, and we appreciate your assistance. And he sort of bows low and heads off, and he says, "All right, spin cycle next." No, he doesn't say that. Just kidding.
I wish my dryer talked to me when it's
I don't say, but it's ready. Mine does this like ding 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 ding.
Yeah,
like this music theme.
Mine goes dun, 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 and it holds out a note for like.
I gotta figure out if I can program mine so it can do da 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 da, like do the Final Fantasy victory music or whatever. Oh my goodness. Anyway, all right. So walks away, and for the moment, the four of you are left to your own devices. What do you want to do?
Maybe we go to that tavern that was mentioned. Or, sorry, maybe we go to that tavern that was mentioned.
This
Oh,
is the
okay,
place where we spent like all of Draxus's money on brunch, right? Is that correct?
No,
That
that was the other one.
was
No.
the Sable Wren.
Right.
Okay.
That was the Sable Wren, not Iridian's Tavern.
Yes.
Iridian,
we
Iridian's
got this.
Tavern is where the Riff Raff hang out, basically.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Draxus holds up a debt clock and says,
Yes.
"Remember this insert quest item we received last time that is responsible for our credit in the city?" And then I put it away.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, Raven turns to why am I blanking out on this? She
Turns
goes,
to Nalik, Sataria, Draxus, the Mork.
she turns to Sataria, is like, you can heal me now, you know.
Well, I don't know. Am I too weird?
You
don't know, you might
realize
make a
I was
weird
doing
noise.
that just to make a distraction from the guards, which didn't work as well as I thought it would.
I thought we had a good thing going, but no, apparently not. Here you go.
Well, I mean, yeah, actually, I think I did kind of hurt myself even more while doing that act. And apparently they forgot about me entirely, so can you heal me?
Well, there's 8. Do you need more?
I know that should be fine. That gives me 39.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That bumps me up to 39. Thank
I'm
you.
kind of enjoying the Sitaria and Raven distraction duo. I think it should become a regular thing now.
Well,
And
to
then
Iridians?
Raven,
sorry.
Raven grumbles, "Don't push your luck," and she comes off a little grouchy.
Well, are we off to Iridians then?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You following getting a couple of instructions from folks. You are, without too much difficulty, able to find Iridian's Tavern. And it should be noted that whereas the Sable Wren, we mentioned the debt clock, was very much like, oh, yes, how would you appreciate, the people who hold the bottles this way, like the Grey Poupon thing, like that's not very much not what Iridian's is about. When you come into or come to the outside of Iridian's, you can hear that there are people sort of chattering from inside, and there's a lot of like what sounds almost like there's a little bit of like music maybe playing from inside. You can't quite tell, but it seems like there's some energy to be found within this tavern. And when you enter it, you can see why that is. This is a quite a crowded place actually right now. And there are multiple tables in this room with a number of people that are sort of chattering to each other. I think it's probably fair to say, though, that as you walk in, there is definitely an edge to this. I don't know whether anyone knows what the experience would be like of feeling that a place has a lot of gossip, but it's not happy gossip. It's not like, oh, I heard so-and-so was looking at this. It's more like, I heard this thing blew up the other day, and like I heard so-and-so's dog was turned into a bush. Like there's definitely like this undercurrent of unease, I guess is the way that I would describe it. Having said that, though, people seem to be, drinking and having a good time chatting with each other anyway, as you come into the room. Behind the tavern, the back of this room, this sort of common area, there is a sort of a larger kind of counter set up. There are several large casks behind it that seem to have been tapped. And right now, one of the people, the person fairly good size, like fairly tall and bulky, looks like possibly a human, is turned away and is currently as a towel flung over his left shoulder and is filling a mug as you come in and has not noticed that you're here yet.
I approach this man
Okay.
and I say, "Hello, are you Devin Hux?"
I am. Just a moment. And he finishes and then takes the mug, and it's a fairly long counter, and he puts it on the side and he says, "Arms up!" And Jaraxxus, you have a second to react before he tosses a mug in your direction, or so it seems. He slides it down the counter, so I'd like you to make a dexterity check for me, please.
Excellent. I will do that. And you know what? With my -1, I will succeed. That's a 10.
You do get your arms out of the way just in time as the mug goes flying by, and someone catches it at the end of the bar and says, thanks. And Devin says, that's all right. And then he says, okay, now for you, you're cut off. I'll give you some in a minute. You're underage. And then he comes to you and he's like, and as for you, and like each of these people are like, like, right. And he comes to you and he's like, right. So welcome to Iridian's. What can I do for you? Perhaps a drink? And he kind of like tilts his head a bit. You're not engaged. Don't take this the wrong way. You're not engaged in any illusions, are you? Like making yourself look like something you're not?
No.
Kind of gestures at the tentacle area of his head. You know?
I'm from outer space, which is technically true. See, watch. And I just stare at him, and my tentacles, Davy Jones, and move a little bit, and he hears my voice in his mind, and I say, see, hello.
And he kind of nods slowly, and he says, Right then, illusory magic. All right, so what drink would you want, sir? And by the way, are the other three of you like coming up like behind Draxus, or are you staying back?
Yes, coming back behind you, Alexis.
Okay. Yes, Satari and Raven also coming up behind.
Yep. Hold on.
Okay. Raven, same.
Raven hangs back a little bit, but
Okay.
more just to watch as opposed to be at the bar directly.
Okay. So he sort of notes that a few more. He's like, and perhaps something for your friends too.
Right. We tried this at the last place. It didn't go so well, so let's see if it works here. We would like, the four of us, the most popular drink, just to acclimate ourselves to the city, and then, like, the most ordered plate of food.
And we want to know the price before you hand it to us.
That's a great question.
And
Yes.
he kind of looks and his eyebrows raise a little bit, and he says, "You look like you've been to the Sable Wren first."
How did you guess?
I know the type. Did they tell me? They give you the debt clock?
I hold it up.
All right, look. And he sort of holds his hand out. He says, because you look like you're new here, and I appreciate your illusory magic, he says to you, Draxus, I'll help you out. And he holds out his hand.
I give the clock to him.
He takes it and he says, you see, you have to know how to deal with these things. And he calmly puts it on the counter. And a few of the patrons, all of these patrons, by the way, look definitely much more rough and ready than the Sable Wren people. They still are clearly villagers, right? But they're very much not, it's a different crowd. And they all sort of look with interest, and you maybe catch one of them slightly smiling. And then he says, Devin says to you, all right, the key is to be very, very subtle. And then he takes the mug and he fills it with one of the stuff from the cask, holds it over the clock.
I put my hand over the clock.
So the beer pours onto your hand and onto the clock. And the clock is...
And my intention was, I thought he was going to smash it or do something. If Jiraxis sees that he was about to...
Wasn't going to smash it. But he was clearly doing something to do it, to damage it.
Yeah, I think Jiraxis would have pulled his hand to
And he says, no. He's like, listen. You don't understand. The way that this works is this. The people from the Sable Wren give you a debt clock. They give you this story that, well, we'll be able to track it anywhere, blah, 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 blah. He's like, none of it's true. All right? The Sable Wren is filled with a bunch of con men. Their job is to try to get people that can't afford to be in there to stay out of there forever. I had an uncle once who used to tell me in his strange land long ago about what it was like to get a parking ticket at a college. It wasn't a real one, okay? That's what I'm saying. And he says, trust me, you're never going to hear from these people again, unless you want to go back to that place. But assuming you don't, they're not going to come after you. They're not going to find you. Right?
There were some interesting musicians there who had very old-looking instruments.
Oh,
Do you know
I'm sure
anything about them?
I sure do. They're the ones who wouldn't bother to even look in my direction. We have musicians too. Look over there. And he points over, and you can see at the far side of the common room, slightly elevated, is what looks like a currently unconscious old man who is slumped over a incredibly battered lute and is just sort of like, and he says, Follister! And and he's playing these like notes, right? And they're not entirely out of tune, but they're very jangly. Like, it's sort of hard to get a sense if it's out of tune because the whole instrument is like, wah, 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 And he's playing that, and a couple people near Foster is like, it's about time you told him, Devin. He's been asleep for the last 10 minutes. And Foster's like, as he's doing this. And so Devin turns back to you, and he's like, they may have old instruments, but I've got an old musician. And he claps a couple people on the shoulder. They all smile and nod, and one says, Devin destroyed my debt clock too. They never said anything to me. I only got it because my jackass of a brother gave it to me. And they all sort of laugh. You get the impression that everyone is very laid back here, for whatever that's worth, despite, as I said, this feeling of unease. He says, however, if you want to keep your debt clock and constantly be in hock to these people, well, that's up to you. I'm just telling you, we can get rid of that situation if you like.
Who came up with the debt clock anyway?
Oh, it was one of their ideas. I think maybe with the town official. I think they thought it was a way to get some extra money. People who would like to see or be seen. Don't take this the wrong way, but the ones who usually get caught are the tourists, the ones from out of town. And we haven't had as many of those tourists lately, so maybe the Sable Wren's feeling a little strained.
I'm supposing the tourists aren't coming around because of your crystal visitors.
Okay, now I would like an insight check from you, please, Nels, when you ask that question.
Okay.
Is that a 10?
Yeah, it's a 10.
He probably the way to describe this is he does pause briefly when you ask him that. And a couple of the other people sort of, focus more on their drinks again. And he says, well, you could say that. There's, well, it's like this. There's some things that have been happening in Evosaria. And Galafel is in Evosaria, and so it's going to be subject for everything else. And given the current governmental structures, and he kind of looks around, and the people are sort of like uncomfortably like, like drinking from their drinks. He says, I suppose it's not surprising then that Galafel's fallen on its share of troubles. But, of course, those are all rumors. I can't say that they're official. He kind of raises his eyebrow at you. Official.
I can pick up what you're putting down.
Speaking of which, let us know when our food is ready.
Oh, yes, you asked for it. Well, so now that we've established the Sable Wren business, it's time that you had some actual drink and food. Now, here's the thing that they gave you, right? All right, here's your food, blah, 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 and then they gave you something that had maybe 2 bits of meat on it and, like, the whole plate around it. They talked about presentation. Pah! I'll tell you what presentation is. It's presenting you food. Follister! And the Follister, who started to, like, drift, has come back again. And he says, all right, now, just give me a moment and I'll show you what real food's like. Turns around and he walks down the counter, and then there's a little sort of side door off to the left that he disappears into, and a couple of, basically maybe 30 seconds later, reappears, and he has several plates of something steaming coming from it, hot something or other, in these plates. And he sets it down and he says, there, your presentation is actual food. And he gestures at it. Now, this food that you're looking at looks to be like a plate full of... I'm trying to figure out how to describe... So if you had a beef stew, and then the beef stew hung out with a smorgasbord, and then the smorgasbord and the beef stew had like a salad, and combine this all together, it looks like there's like 30 different ingredients that you're staring at. Like there's beef, carrots, potatoes, celery, like there's all of this stuff, and it's all together. It looks like slop, but it smells good.
Jaraxxus, his eyes light up, and he says,
Oh, this is just like a special celebratory food back in Dendis.
And Jaraxxus grabs his plate of this smorgasbord soup thing, and with each of his tentacles, they each grab a different one of the food items. One of his tentacle beard tendrils grabs a piece of beef, and the other a carrot and everything. And then he's like,
This is the way that we
And then he looks around.
Everyone in the counter is
This
fascinated.
is the way that we eat at home.
And Jaraxxus, tentacle by tentacle, he just eats each of the different things.
You notice that the music seems to have died out, and as you look over, it's not because Follister's fallen asleep, but because he too is sort of looking. They sort of watch you for a while. I'm curious if Nulls and Tataria and Raven are also watching him eat, because the rest of the tavern seems to be fairly focused on what Jaraxxus is doing.
We do watch, and as he eats, I said, "You're right. That is great illusory magic."
I look in the direction of the musician and I say,
Hollister, please.
Foster's starts to play again.
Jaraxxus says, I'm going to find us a table. And goes to do so.
When he does, Devin says, all right, to the rest of you, are you interested in that food as well and drink? I'll bring you some. And frankly, that was so amusing. The first one will be on the house.
Excellent. Students always are here for free food.
And he nods and smiles, and he says, all right, food, yes?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. He glances at you, Raven.
Raven's like, sure, why not?
Okay. If you go over to the table, then he follows you over, and within a couple of minutes, you have a bunch of these plates of steaming stew smorgasbord. Incidentally, it is actually delicious. I would say, for those of you in chat who have not had this experience, anything ever made in a crock pot is delicious when being done with a crock pot. I will die on this hill. Yes, it takes forever, but slow cookers are a badass in making things taste delicious. So that's sort of what this is. It's obviously been slow cooked. The presentation is non-existent. The plate you're pretty sure is wooden. You are not 100% sure how clean the plate is or whatever. Hopefully that grit that you're tasting is not, but it's actually really good. And the drink that he brings over is not what I would describe as the most refined palate stuff. It's a little bit like, you could get a case of this for a couple of bucks type of thing, but it does the job. He puts it down next to you, and he says, all right, well, the whole bit of it will be, let's see, and he kind of sizes you all up. Let's just say a silver piece. I find you all interesting, so I don't have to go overdo it. And he says a silver piece for the whole lot. And he says, so I'm curious why you've come to this place to begin with. I mean, Galifel does have tourists sometimes, but like I said, it's been a while. What brings you to this village?
We are hunting down parts to fix a spaceship.
A spaceship? That's more of your
kidding.
illusion magic, I suppose.
Yes. Oh, you guys have chicken too. I could be.
And he nods and he says, I see. And you've all just come to fix this spaceship by coming to Galifel? What exactly do you think you're going to find in Galifel for a space shippy, whatever you call it?
Well, apparently, maybe something with crystals.
And again, go ahead and make that insight check for me, Sataria.
Oh, well, now, okay.
21. Yeah, you get the impression that that's the second time. When you said crystal, he sort of did the kind of a little bit of a double take. As if, this isn't the first time he's heard this sort of thing before. And he sort of, he says, well, I don't know that I would know anything about crystals, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of strange things happening. And he kind of, looks around. He says, nah, but I don't really think I could tell you about all of it. It's probably not the best idea. Looks uncomfortable.
Are you a broker of information?
Well, I tell stories, you see. I was an adventurer back in the day, so I like telling stories and hearing stories from other people, but whether that makes me a broker of information, I don't know. I'm too broke most of the time to be a broker. He chuckles.
Would you trade a story for a story?
And he sort of like rubs his chin. Intriguing. What kind of a story are we talking about?
Things ancient and dark that we thought had been squirreled away but are slowly making their way back into Thalos.
That's a Tuesday for me. Nope. Anything else?
Not even the Caridin could pique your interest?
And he sort of says, the Caridin? What the devil are the Caridin?
Well, we believe that maybe they came from another dimension, or even the sky itself.
Is this, he kind of looks to Draxus. Is this more of the
It's
illusion magic
if
again?
we can't, maybe we should tell you something like a childhood's. One time I was in the park and I did this. Because everything that we've been up to has been some freaky stuff. Okay, so
Well, wait a minute. He says, look, freaky, and he sort of lowers his voice a bit. Does this have anything to do with the Primarchs?
That's what we're trying to
Yes.
find out.
Follister! And Follister gets Follister. And he sits down at the table and he says, well, I guess he was sitting at the table. He draws his chair in and he says, all right, look. I've gotten myself in trouble before because I've got little love for the sisters. I understand that they've tried to do what they think's the right thing. I don't think they're bad, you understand me? But the measures they've taken so far to fix or stop or calm down whatever the devil's going on in Galifel, I can't get behind it. Let's say that they do keep everyone safe. Doing it at the risk of imposing, well, it ain't martial law, but it's a lot closer to it than I'd like. Well, but I've got to be careful, you see, because too much talk like that means I get a conversation with the Verdant Guard. They don't obviously take me in. I've known most of those people since they were boys, or boys and girls, but, well, they look at me and they say, listen, Devin, you just make sure you keep yourself in your own side of the counter. My own side of the counter. Used to be that any counter I went to the other side of it. I was an adventurer. But these days, well, I'm retired.
And what of Asherol? We hear that he's no longer with the Verdant Guard.
He leans back and says, this is getting into information that's going to get me in trouble.
in
Nulls, I'd
trouble
like you...
with who?
And he says, well, he says, well, with... And then he stops. He's like, oh, no, Mr. Illusory Magic. Clever attempt. Nulls, I'd like you to make a persuasion check for me, please. And Pi Proxima, this episode, freaky deaky, yeah. More or less. Ooh. 23. So he says, all right, look. I have a contact, let's call him, within the Verdant Guard. The Green Wizards themselves know things that are going on, and so I've gotten some information from him. I can't tell you all of it's completely 100% true, because even though I believe in this contact, in fact, I trust him completely, he may not have all the details either. That said, there are some things that have been going on, and you mentioned Asherol, and he turns to you, Nulls, and he says, well, the rumor is that Asherol was the leader of the Order of Green Wizards, right? You've probably heard that already. Well, he's rumored to have a private, we call it a laboratory, beneath Elith Vakarin. That's the place to the north of here. And there's underground passages that run between the ruins in all different places. Well, that's just because he's a wizard, and wizards do strange things. Magic-using people, never really understood much what motivates them. But the fact that he's now disappeared for weeks, right around the same time all the weird things started to happen in the village, well, you don't have to put two and two together to know that it's four. And he kind of nods at you sagely.
Can you spell the name of this place where the lab is?
Yes, it's Elith, so Elyth.
Elyth. Okay.
Vakaran, Vakaran. And you can ask him for more. You could always ask him about any of this, but you could ask him for more about that if you want.
A private laboratory, you say?
Draxus gives a look at Sitaria and says, Didn't you work in a laboratory or something?
Medical healing.
Oh. Did you ever work in a laboratory? I look at Raven.
Raven nervously looks at him and says, I might have.
Mr. Hux, do you know what he did in his laboratory?
Well, that's of course the question, isn't it? Everyone has speculation, but no one knows for sure. The reality is that, well, all right, it's like this. So, there's a place to the north of here called Moonstar Mount. You might have heard of that before. Now, Sataria has absolutely heard of Moonstar Mount before because you know it as a place of... there's a great deal of magic associated with it, and during this cataclysmic event that created the disaster in Celis and all the stuff that happened many years ago, Moonstar Mount was one of the places that was the sort of focal point for a lot of the release of this magical energy. So Moonstar Mount is still a place where research gets done, but it's dangerous to do it because it's almost like going to jump out of game for a minute, like going to an irradiated area, right? It's sort of like that, where it feels like dangerous in that regard. But you've definitely heard that before. Nulls, you might even have heard the word Moonstar, like you might have heard the name, even if you don't know the specifics of it. It's pretty well known. And so obviously Raven and Draxus have not. But he says, so Moonstar Mount, right? Well, at the base of it, there's a dome of energy swirling, I hear, to the east that the green wizards don't want anyone to know about. This person I know told me that he says that what they refer to it as a chaos dome. It's been corrupting magic and spreading through the pillars that give some of the life to this place, that provided energy and water and food and all that sort of thing. And, well, there's these stations throughout the realm that are used to sort of help keep Evisaria green. And, well, this chaos dome has been corrupting it, I heard tell. And the deal of it is that corruption somehow is connected to this place, Elyth Vakaran. Now, any of you ever heard of Elyth Vakaran? Kind of looks around. Probably not. Sataria, you might have vaguely heard of that name, but not in anything modern context. And he says, well, it's an ancient elven ruin near the dome's edge. And before the disaster at Celis, before the Empire fell, the ruins, it said, were the site of many dark rituals and twisted experiments. So when the dome emerged, well, it emerged around this structure called Biotrol. Biotrol is this place that, like I said, helps keep Evisaria green and fertile and all. That's when this chaos dome existed. And that's when my friend told me about Asherol, that he had this private laboratory. Well, you put it together. A chaos dome emerges, Asherol vanishes, it's right near Moonstar Mount, there's corruption in the land, and there you have it. And he sort of loudly at this point says, there you have it, conspiracy solved. Forrester! And Forrester is so.
Jaraxus is taking notes, and he looks across at everyone else and says, well, looks like we have a heading.
Yeah, sounds like a wizard going to the dangerous place. I mean, are we sure we want to go there? It's not got a great reputation. The Chaos Dome? I mean, I guess we gotta look into it.
Sounds kind of fun, if you ask me. But
There's some other places that we heard about. The Institutions of Natural and Magical Research.
Oh, well, for that, you need to talk to the sisters. They're the ones who are in charge of most of the research that gets done, them and Asherol. But like I said, Asherol can't be found. I suppose the sisters would be the ones you might want to speak to anyway if you want to go up to Elithvakaran. And they might not let you go. I don't really know what the sisters are doing these days, except making things harder for us around here. There was a time when the sisters were the ones that I would have trusted with anything. But something's changed. They've gotten paranoid, I suppose. But then again, paranoia seems reasonable when you've got people turning into bushes and crystal things attacking, and, well, it's a strange time, that's for sure.
Well, based on what we have seen, I can say they have reason to be paranoid, but they should not be taking that out on their people.
And he nods. He's like, the only ones that'll save them will be the adventurers. That's what I say. And if that's what you all are, well, then they have their path. But the sisters are, well, they're kind of micromanagers, you might say.
Since you are an adventurer yourself...
Retired.
Ah, well, I was going to ask if you'd think about making the trek.
Oh, well, I'm grateful, but at this point, the truth is Iridian's Tavern takes up all my time. Why, without me, why we wouldn't even be able to keep the music going. Forrester! And he begins to go again. You notice that Forrester basically is like a wind-up doll. It sort of runs down and then runs down and then runs down, but always seems to hit with the last chord, that he left. It picks right back up at the same chord. And he says, and the truth is, I feel like I'm keeping these people's morale up. I mean, the Sable Wren wouldn't have them in, and anywhere else they'd just have the guard telling them to go home and be in their just close the windows and the doors and don't come out until all the danger's passed. Well, that's a good way to get all of Galifel frightened of its own shadow. At least here they can come and laugh and forget some of their troubles, and I can keep their morale up, if you will. Can't do that if I go off, and even worse if I went off and got myself killed. No, I'm afraid my place is here. But I would love to know what happens when you go.
Well, when is the last time you went out on a journey of your own?
Oh, well, that's probably 6-7 years ago at least. I had one last big adventure, and it was a good one, but and he kind of, his eyes sort of drop, and he says, well, it didn't end the way I hoped it would have. Anyway, adventuring's in my past. You can tell that there's more there somewhere, Nals, but not that he's talking to you about now.
Do you have any of your old adventuring gear?
Oh, well, I might be able to see. Most of my stuff's in good condition, but, well, it's probably fairly antique. The truth is, if it looks like you, he kind of looks at you, Jaraxxus, or you, looks at you, Raven, I don't know what you've got on, but it looks you've got better equipment than whatever I could give you. I was, well, a swordsman of some renown, I suppose. I've got my old ancient sword, but that sword would not be of much good to you. For one thing, it's too heavy, and for a second, well, it's not really a good idea to bring it out at the moment. It's inclined to rust, you see.
Anything else?
Just this. I want you to make sure if you go out there that you have your wits about you. Whatever's going on with the sisters, whatever's going on with Galifel and Avasaria, well, this Chaos Dome, I bet, has got something to do with it. I can just smell it. And that means that you're putting yourselves in danger when you go there. If Asherol disappeared, Asherol's one of the most powerful wizards I ever met. If he can't handle it, and he kind of shakes his head.
Asherol wasn't a part of your old adventuring group, was he?
No, but I'd known him for a long time. It was through Asherol that I met my contact right now in the Green Wizards, the Verdant Guard. He was not to be trifled with. Hard to imagine that something could have tripped him up, but it seems something happened, because he's not back, and no one's telling where he's gone, including the sisters.
Is it possible to contact your contact?
Well, I can send the word ahead. but I can't reveal the name of my contact, and I don't know if the contact will be able to contact you. If his cover's blown, I wouldn't get the information that I needed. And frankly, that information is some of the way that I'm able to keep tabs on what's going on in this town, and perhaps help a little bit if needed.
Any assistance you can give us in that area is very much appreciated, and we will be discreet and won't blow your contact. It's information.
He says, all right then, I'll reach out to him and let him know. It'll take a little bit though, so you might want to go check something out first. Once you've done that though, he'll be waiting. I don't know whether he'll get in touch with you, but I'll let him know that you wish to speak.
Do let him know that we encountered that crystal creature in the market today, and were asked about it by the Verdant Guard.
Oh, and his eyes widen a little bit. I had heard something strange happen in the market, but I didn't know the details. So there's a crystal creature, you say? Well, it just showed up and you fought it? What happened?
Well, we fought it. We took some damage, but the Verdant Guard then showed up, destroyed it, and then of course closed down the market and said they would want to talk more to us and keep track of us.
Of course.
Well, after it disappeared, a guy too. Do you know Jasper? And then suddenly she has this sort of look like, wait, maybe she should just be like, hey, your friend is dead. But too late.
Jasper? Well, I just saw Jasper yesterday. Why?
Well, it disappeared him and his whole stall.
It did.
So he's
you
gone.
Mean he's sort of like,
yeah, sorry.
he's gone. he's like, he's gone. You mean it killed him?
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
We don't know that for
disappeared.
sure.
Maybe he went somewhere.
He slumps back.
I have a theory, What if, because he just sort of disappeared in a big, magic sort of thing. Maybe we'll find him. Maybe the Chaos Dome has something to do with this.
He says, well, Jasper was, he's a good man, and, well, he's one of the people I adventured with back in the day. He was there at the last time of the adventuring.
I am
Sorry, I just didn't expect that. Sorry, just best of luck to you, and, you can leave the silver on the counter on the way out, and keep me posted. Sorry. And he kind of gets up, and you can see he's, pretty thrown off as he goes back to the counter.
Before he can go, Nalls does say to him, we promise you we will find out what happened to your friend.
And he turns back to you, Nalls, and he says, just don't end up finding the same fate he did. Do you understand? And he sort of nods very like we're here, and then nods at you and turns away, and you can see his shoulders maybe slightly slumped as he goes back to the counter.
Way to go, Sataria.
How was I supposed to know?
You were.
I mean, it's not like I've ever gotten feedbacks that I need to be more tactful in evaluations.
Relating to death specifically.
Among other things, and critical diagnoses.
Well, while we're here, we did want Elsie to look at those crystals, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. And each of us, I suppose, maybe we can each have a go at it.
Sorry, I will grab one as soon as they're out on the table so that she can focus on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I produce the crystals.
And now, are you doing Elsie? Are you bringing Elsie out into the picture here for everybody else?
Yes.
Okay. So when you do that, kind of Elsie says, yes, interesting. There is a person over in the side of the room that I can see is currently falling asleep. You hear, Follister! Oh, he appears to have awakened again.
I gesture to Nalik.
Or I guess I can do it. Hello, Elsie. Do you know anything about this? I point to the crystal.
It appears to be, and the figure of Elsie sort of goes over, and for all the whirl, bends down and sort of like it almost looks like is like putting Elsie's hands around the crystal, not picking it up, obviously, because it's a hologram, so it's not picking up in physical space, but is sort of like putting hands around it. And there's a little bit of a glow as you can see that Elsie's doing that, and then says, "Interesting. This appears to be a distortion, as if a certain essence of what is around here has been distorted and warped into this crystalline structure that you see here."
An essence.
That might be a good way to describe it, yes. It's interesting because it's not made up of largely natural material. It's synthetic.
Have you ever heard of Biotrol?
And there's a pause, and then, Biotrol. No, I am not familiar with this. But then, Evisaria itself, as you might remember I mentioned, was very obscured to me. I did not have much access to any of that information while I was back on the Centurion.
Was there ever a phenomenon central or similar to this?
You mean the crystal warping, then?
Yes.
There are examples of crystals being changed, but that warping generally has a scientific root. It is possible to change crystalline structures in this fashion if one has access to Magitech engines and structures.
Interesting.
Is there any animal DNA within these crystalline structures you can detect?
I do not sense any animal DNA, but I do sense something, perhaps flora rather than fauna. There are some aspects of plant essences to be discovered here, parts of the surrounding world. Did you find this crystal within this little room with people?
Manifested from a golem creature that appeared out of nowhere in the market a few blocks away.
It appeared out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. I shall, with my Espergenesis recording unit device, I will recreate an image of what we saw as it appeared and we fought it. The weird, like, displacement of the market stall and Josper getting, Thanos snapped away. I don't know how.
Basically. And so Elsie looks at this with interest, or, well, at least observes it silently, and then when this is done, this kind of a creature's immediate appearance comes from two sources. One, I do not fully understand. There is something which is referred to in local lore as summoning magic, but I do not understand it and have no referent place for it within my time on the Centurion. But the other way that I am familiar with it is a transmutation which combines with transportation. Essentially, a creature arrives here from elsewhere. That is not magically done. It is done with technology. This creature is essentially a technological being. But if you're saying that these crystals came from it, then the essence of the world around you is itself technological, not fantastical.
Hmm.
Would Asheral be involved, I wonder?
Who is
If, uh,
Asherol?
There is a group here called the Verdant Guard. They protect this city. The head of the Verdant Guard was a green wizard called Asheral who has disappeared, and we've learned that he has a lab underground in Elith Vakarin.
Elith Vakarin. I have heard references to some ancient elven structure on the planet, but I know nothing of it beyond that. This
Have you?
Asherol of yours has vanished recently?
Yes. And we've learned that there is a chaotic energy, a dome, at the base of the Moonstar Mount, which you may have heard of.
There are legends, at least in the planetary lore, of this Moonstar Mount. But as far as chaos energy, I don't know what that would be. It is the case, however, that chaotic energy has been associated with creatures you've come into contact with before. This, it is said, is what the Caridin thrive on. Perhaps that is what they mean by Chaos Dome? Sorry, you didn't
Interesting.
say dome. You said energy. Chaos energy, I beg your pardon. So she would just, Elsie would repeat that term.
Supposedly, this corrupting energy is also corrupting magic.
I don't know what that would look like. Magic itself is unusual and strange to me. It may have a corrupting effect on many things. Thalos, the planet as a whole, seems to be some strange mixture of science and technology I understand, and this magic that I do not. Perhaps it has corrupted more things by twisting them into things like this. And she points at the crystal.
I think we'll know more if we set out and begin investigating these places.
Do we want to ask the sisters first? Because I
Yeah,
think they're probably
yeah.
going to say no, but maybe how they say no tells us something.
We need to convince them that it is in their interest to let us do the investigation. They're paranoid and want to keep things quiet. What better way to do that than to let outsiders do it for them?
Plus, I want to see these sisters. I'm curious as to what they look like and what are they doing.
What
Thank
are
you,
these sisters that you refer to?
Leaders of this village, apparently. That's all.
Ah. I would
Going
advise
crazy like the rest of them, I guess.
I would advise caution then. If they are anything like those who have been corrupted by the Caridin, they could become dangerous.
Well, hopefully not. We haven't met anyone corrupted yet. Here.
Here is the key part of that.
Thank you, Elsie, for your analysis.
I am pleased to have been of service. Good luck in your next venture, and be careful of this corruption, whatever it may be, since it affects both creatures of this planet and beyond. It could affect all of you, and could theoretically impede my own systems at some point.
Noted. Draxus turns to everyone and says, should we, GM, how late is it in the day?
Probably early afternoon, I would say. So, not super late.
Should we, I have finished my meal and my drink. Shall we go find these sisters and head towards our inevitable exit?
Makes sense to me.
You also did you want to visit the wizard school?
Isn't
Sorry.
that where we would gain access to the Primarch sisters?
I would guess so. I guess this place is run by the Verdant Guard itself. I guess that makes sense. Yes, alright, we're going to the same place then. Theoretically.
Also, I wonder if there's a place where like do short rest or something.
I just completed one. I mean, I imagine we're sitting here resting at a
I was
tavern
going to say,
for an
jokes
hour, yeah.
aside, you could probably get a short rest in here if you wanted to. I would think.
Okay.
What are you using the short rest for, Raven, to basically get back some points, talent points, and so on?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We need to figure out what we're... Did you bring Gomorkin? I completely forgot to ask about whether you're bringing Gomorkin into the tavern
I just
or not.
assumed that he was waiting outside after
Okay.
a while.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want him to get lost, but I wanted to make sure that
Devin
you know-
didn't get freaked out, so I assumed he wasn't in there.
All right, I want you running the train, or at least being aware of him, rather than me doing, because I want to be responsive when I need to be, but not running it myself. So, okay, so you are able to get that, Raven, and that leads you to, if you leave after this, you probably could. It will be not very difficult to find where the sisters actually are and request an audience. There's a little bit of asking around allows you to determine that on the north end of Galifel there is a walled sector of the city, the village. I keep jumping around village, town, city. It's not a city. It really is sort of I guess a town is the best way to describe it. But this thing stands out because they live in a place known as the Twin Spires. And you can see why it's called that, because as you get close to that area, you can see this sort of dual-spired mansion, which is where they reside. The main boulevard that you're going down, that you've been directed towards to get to these people, leads north to a 30-foot high wall of pinkish stone with decorative silver inlay. And there are arched gates in the center which open into a separate section of the city comprised of elegant glass and stone architecture. And you're able to pass through without too much difficulty. I will say the architecture here looks very much more like the clientele of the what the heck was it called? Did I just say? The Sable Wren. There we go. I was like the Verdant Wren. No, the Sable Wren looks very much like that clientele rather than Iridian's Tavern, you would guess. And so, at the heart of this sort of city sector is a circular keep of white and pink marble, and as I mentioned, there are these pair of cylindrical spires that extend from either side of the keep, and they bear these glowing blue patterns that are etched upon their surfaces. They look a little bit, to Jaraxxus and Raven in particular, like connecting circuitry, and they actually mirror each other between the two spires. In fact, the patterns sort of glow and run along the surface, so like you see it tracing repeatedly, like that, on both spires, simultaneously mirroring each other. And when you sort of are coming up close to look at this, you can see that there are 5 Verdant Guard members who are standing outside the sort of door that leads to this keep.
Can I run a mechanics check to see if I can recognize exactly if it is kind of circuitry?
Sure, I think you can do that. Yes. Go ahead and make a mechanics check. You won't be able to get much on the nature of it, Raven, but you could at least see if it is.
I don't know if this will work. Let's see. Yep, I still can't do it. Okay. I have to find out why that is.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the deal is with it. But
Okay. So 1 die 20. Another 3
and then your mechanics is what, like
plus 1.
4?
So 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. It is definitely, the pattern is regular and repeating, which is machine-like. But I mean, maybe a spell could do that also. Some of the weird magic stuff that they do down here, you're not sure if it's machine-oriented. But the guards, the 5 guards, sort of, are watching you, but they don't say anything yet because you haven't said anything to them yet.
Anyone want to lead the negotiation, or shall I do it?
I mean, we saw what happened last time when
All right.
Raven and I. I mean, we could do the me and Raven show, I guess, but
Let's
don't
keep
know
that,
that would work very well.
on the back burner.
yeah.
I'll give it a shot. Jaraxxus approaches and says, "Greetings, O verdant guard. We are visitors from outside of town. You likely heard of the unfortunate incident at the market earlier this afternoon. We were the outside adventurers that helped to resolve the situation before your kind guard stepped in to help. We were told to come here to provide additional information. We also wished to speak with the sisters that lead your town, if that is possible."
And the one who's in front, you can see that 4 of them look sort of like the ones you already encountered. They all have the staves and the same thing, the hooded green cloaks. But the 5th one looks a little bit different. Has the same cloak, but the green cloak is overlaid, has a staff in one hand, but a brilliant emerald green shield in the other. And along the shield, you can see, or in the front of the shield, is embossed this image of 2 spires that sort of are on the front of the shield. And that one says, "We had heard of you down in the market, that crystalline thing. Yes, the sisters have asked us to wait for your arrival. You are expected. We will need to ask for your names first, and then we must accompany you into the spires."
Of course. I will introduce myself and then allow my companions to introduce themselves. We also have a companion, I point at Gamork, who is our loyal... he's not a pet.
Gamork growls softly.
Not a pet. I shouldn't have said that. He is with us too. But I am Dr. Keldon Jaraxxus, a doctor of xenobiology and astrophysics to be specific, but you can just call me Jaraxxus.
I am Nalik, but everyone calls me Nalls.
Raven.
Satari Vervin.
And the guard, the commander sort of process. Yeah, I go by John Smith, as my friends. He nods and he says, "Very well. In that case, please follow. We will allow the wolf passage as well, but you will be answerable for him. For it, he would say. If it acts out of turn or is threatening, it will be put down." And Gamork sort of is growls softly, but the guy says it as sort of a matter of fact, like, "We'll just destroy it if you don't,
Great.
He kept the citizens safe today in the marketplace.
That is why he is being given access to the Primarchs. However, there are limits." And the guard sort of nods to you. Again, all very matter of fact. The guards fall in behind you, so you were surrounded. I don't mean that in an ominous way, but just like that's how they're bringing you in. And assuming you go along with them, they then escort you into the main area of the keep. When you were brought into this keep, you can see something interesting about it, which is that as you're walking up the stairs, there's an area which the guard commander that you're with explains is called the Precipice. And you see why, because at the top floor is 2 things of note. One, there are 2 thrones, 2 large chairs in 2 sections of the room, not right next to each other, but like both, you can see both of them from where you're standing. So there are 2 thrones, and both of them seem to be, for all the world, on like the edge of, like, the platform just leads to nothingness. Like, beyond it is just sky and the mountains beyond and all that stuff. There's no wall. It's just like you're walking up onto a platform that's just there, and there's two thrones on that platform. So maybe that's why it's called the precipice. But it's a little disconcerting, I think, is the way to describe it. Crystal domes along the ceiling cast this bright glow throughout the grand hall of the precipice. And as you climb up the steps, the guard commander that's with you holds up a hand, and the group, including the other guards, stop. And he says, "I introduce adventurers, visitors from out of town. They were partially responsible for what preserving the people in the market today. Zataria Verban, Nalik Darkly," actually you didn't say Darkly, so just Nalik, Raven, and Dr. Keldon Jaraxis, xenobiologist and other things. And like sort of says that. Also their wolf, Gamork. And then steps aside and bows respectfully. And he says, "Here are the leaders of Galifel and Avasaria, Baelstala and Zesia, sisters. Please do them homage." And he sort of bows his head.
Jaraxis will bow his head.
Okay, I saw Nals do it. Raven and Satari also.
Yep.
The only one who does not bow his head is
Yes.
Gamork, who growls softly. You see the two sitting on the throne are the two sisters. Now, there's something interesting about them. First of all, they are both clearly elven somehow. You can tell from the shape of the ears, something about the features. There's something that suggests kind of elven heritage at the very least. And both of them, as they are sitting there, have similar sort of long hair. They look to be not quite identical, but very obviously twins, very obviously sisters, like very closely related. You can see similar features to both of them. They also both have not only sort of dark brown hair, their faces look almost ageless, but their eyes are both green. Both of them glowing green. I shouldn't say glowing, just bright, let's put it that way, green eyes. And as you come up, they nod to you, and they say, the one on the right says, "Welcome. Welcome, adventurers. We are grateful to you." And the other one says, "Very grateful, for you saved our people much pain, and we are happy that you were there to stop them from suffering." And the other one says, "We might say that you are the heroes of the hour." And the other one says, "And as heroes, we hope you will let us know to whom we owe our thanks. Please tell us," the other one says, "why have you come?" And the other one says, "To Avasaria," which is where we're going to bring our session to a close. It is 10:30 p.m. Eastern. But the next time we play, we will start with a chat with the sisters, the leaders of Avasaria. And then you may have a place to go beyond that. You got this elven ruin, this chaos dome. You got some weird stuff, dogs turning into bushes. It's just nuts. It's just like stuff is going on. I was really, really enjoying a lot of the role play, and it was one of those things where I'm like, I really like this campaign a lot. I really love these players. There's a lot of fun little sort of exploratory notes that I like, both in terms of exploring the world, but also exploring the nature of each other as characters. And I thought that was pretty cool. Come a long way, everybody, since the early, hey, we're in a dungeon, we're fighting together, to what we're sort of doing now. So very good times, and I cannot wait for us to do more. I will start with Zach, the bottom right, with Dr. Jaraxis. Good stuff. I love the detail, by the way, of the tentacles picking up all the different elements of the food. That was great. And the fact that there's just sort of this general, so it's just illusion, right? Like that's all you're doing is really illusion. And you're sort of going along with that, I think was helpful, because it gave them a chance to sort of, put at least Devin at ease, which is what you needed so that you could get more information from this guy. How you handle the sisters and all that other stuff, we shall see. But I am looking forward to seeing how Jaraxxus uses his knowledge of recording and sort of letting people know that they are being observed and so forth for a positive benefit in this case. So we shall see. How did you feel about today's session? What will the lovely folks find you next?
Yeah, today's session was definitely interesting. I loved Iridian's Tavern and how you made that come alive. And Fallister! And yeah, that was pretty great. Yeah, I'm excited. It sounds like our stay in Eviseria / Galifel is going to be rather short based on the plans that we have, but it is exciting. I do like an Elven Ruin, and we've already kind of been in one before, but this maybe will be a different one.
This is maybe a corrupted Elven Ruin.
Yeah, corrupted Elven Ruin. That's a classic. Every high fantasy game's got to have a corrupted Elven Ruin.
I guess you've sort of had a sewer level, right? So we're hitting all the notes.
At sewer level, space ship level. We're just missing the water level and the corrupted Elven Ruin level. Of course, yeah, you guys remember the corrupted Elven Ruin in Mario? That's where.
No, for RPGs.
Anyway, yeah, very interesting, very enjoyable, and people will find me here for this, for Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, also for our vocalists, where we've been playing Citizen Sleeper 2 specifically, which is an excellent sci-fi game. Also for Gloomhaven, that Greg and I have been playing. That's a fun game. And then Gen GMs, which is our podcast, where we talk about GMing. And also The Road, which is the band that we're in together.
It was
where we
not our
produced an
plan
album.
to do all this stuff. It just sort of happened.
We just like each other a lot.
Yeah.
And it's Zach Week. And aside from that, you'll find me on my own channel soon. I'm returning to streaming in the last quarter of this year as I get new equipment. So that should be exciting. And that is all. Happy to be here. Happy to play with these folks. And I'll see you all next time.
Good stuff. Thanks, Zach. Good stuff today. LaShawn, as always, continue to enjoy these little subtle elements of what Raven reveals. I really liked the idea that Raven was trying to distract, and then the incredible awkwardness between Raven and Sitaria with a little like, you're healing. I don't like your healing. Well, maybe you don't. Well, I don't know. Like, it was very much like everyone like, ow, ow, like accidentally, metaphorically kneeing each other in the face as they're trying to like make something happen. That was really fun and gives you a sense of like, this is something which we've talked about before, but both Raven and Jaraxxus are vaguely fish out of water here, right? Like, I mean, as you get more into things, the weirdness of the world means that everyone is getting to be a little bit more of a fish out of water, like Sitaria and Null's had that experience on the Centurion. But here, it's one of those deals where you really have been sucked into this adventure that you hadn't been planning on. And so that leads to not just, I'm mysterious and sitting in a corner, but also sometimes I handle things awkwardly, right? And that was something which I'd love to see, that little bit of humor that we got out of Raven here as well. And I'm interested to see how Raven feels about all of this with corruption and all this stuff as we move along. So how did you feel about today, LaShawn? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Yeah, this was fun. I got to you got to see a little bit of a lighter side of a Raven, because that was fun. She isn't all dark and gloom and trauma and all that. So it was fun to slowly try to interweave that in, and maybe we'll see more of that. We'll see. But that was fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the sisters will have, and this laboratory and what kind of interesting feelings she'll get from that. So, but people can find me. They can find me on Facebook. I am on Blue Sky. I don't post as often to Blue Sky as I should, but yeah, I'm still there. But people can most find me at my blog, which is T-Bone Cafe blog. WordPress.org. It's in the chat. otherwise, I think I'm mostly done traveling. I will be going to Viable Paradise again this year to help out as I've been doing for the past few years. And then I'm working on a novel. So, yeah, but I'll be around.
Good stuff. Thank you, LaShawn. Yeah, actually, that's a question. I know Toya and Zach are not. So you're not going to be at Worldcon, Rhiannon, you're not going to be at Worldcon either? Oh, man. It's just going to be...
Not this year.
Just going to be me hanging out with... no. There are other people, of course, lovely people I will see there. Okay. Well, it is, as always, LaShawn, a pleasure, and I'm excited to see you next month back here for this.
And I promise my dryer will not say stuff next time.
That thing was great. I was like, of course.
I am so sorry about
No,
that.
that was so funny. I was like, I was just kind of like, of course it was doing this thing. I was waiting for other information. Listen, a mashup like this campaign, a dryer could easily be sentient. You know, who knows? Like I could see that. But thanks, LaShawn. Always a pleasure. Also a pleasure to have Toya, Kristen Finley with us as always. Good stuff, Toya with Knowles. I am interested to see how Knowles is going to address some of this, because you have always demonstrated the ability to think outside the box and to, especially when it comes to understanding people's motivations, like what's getting them to do what they're doing. And this is very much about that sort of level of corruption and figuring out what corruption is there and why. That's something which I think Knowles is kind of interested in terms of what motivates people to do what they do. So I'll be interested to see what happens during this discussion with the sisters and what happens afterwards. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Yeah, that was a very interesting lore dump that came from Devon. And the thing that I found really interesting is that from the last session, it felt like the Verdant Guard may have had like kind of a malicious motive, and now it seems like, oh, there's just fear and paranoia, which is causing the Primarch sisters to be very, very, very heavy-handed in trying to protect their people. That's not the way to go, and I found that pretty interesting. I also, more than anything that we learned tonight, I am very, very curious to know what happened during Devon's last adventure, because something bad went down.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very curious to know how it connects to everything else that is going on, and I'm sure that it does. So I know that might be a little bit in the future, us getting that full story. But I am really curious to see how that fits with everything else. I'm not going to be anywhere anytime soon out in con land as far as that is concerned. I'm always lurking on the internet. If you need any editing done, my link is in the chat. I am also working on an interactive fiction. It is a quiet horror that gets less quiet the more that you go. I also have a coffee link in that if you'd like to support me. I am also doing a workshop on giving and receiving feedback. So there are some workshops out there that are about how to edit, how to give feedback, how to edit your own stuff if you can't afford an editor, but there aren't really workshops on how to receive feedback. You know, what feedback do you take from an editor or from a critiquer? What do you do with confusing comments? So if you are interested in that, I should have a sign-up form. I'm going to do it sometime in October. The date is TBD, but if you are interested in that, please do sign up for it, and I will send you an email when I have all of the information.
Good stuff. And also, if you can drop a link to that, I know I have it already that you gave it to me, but drop it in the chat, and I'm going to try to add it if I can after the stream or soon thereafter to command. So are you able to do that, Toya?
I can put it in the Zoom chat.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then I'll try to move it over
There
to the
it is.
Twitch chat. That way, later on, I can look at the VOD. Lovely. I can go like this. I can copy that, and I can bring it here. I can do that, and kapow! There we go. All right, so I will
Appreciate
try
that.
to add that. Yes, no problem. I'll try to add that later on, too. Thank you, Toya. And last but certainly not least, as I said, Rhiannon, I was really appreciating two things with Sataria. First of all, the stuff with Raven again, like this, and the fact that then like Sataria took it after was like, well, I guess I wasn't really good. Like the whole thing was awkward. I also really appreciated the, Jasper, like the dead guy. Like basically, and like him just kind of being like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and you're like, "Oh, I mean, yeah, right." It was very, very funny, and the reaction that everyone had, which is just kind of like, "Wow, seriously?" And you're just like, "What?" I mean, I appreciated that very much. It continues to advance this idea of Sataria as a socially awkward, maybe means well, but there's sort of there's a veneer of efficiency that doesn't always allow for social niceties, maybe. That we got with Sataria. And obviously, there's going to be important information coming at the fact that Sataria, who has some elven heritage and also has knowledge of healing magics, and yet has a little bit of a scientific emphasis. When Jaraxxus asked that question about didn't you work in a lab or whatever, and you were like a medical one, but still, there's a scientific element to the magic that you're doing, right? If Nulls is a little more woo, so to speak, Sataria is a little bit more sort of, hardcore on the scientific exploration of magic. So that might work out very well in a setting like this too, in this particular environment with the sisters. But we shall see. How did you feel about tonight, Rhiannon? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
A lot of fun. I love the opportunity to show her lack of social skills. And I am also looking forward to the sort of elven ruin because, she doesn't do much with her half-elf heritage, and she doesn't think about it much herself, but I'm curious about that. And also, I'm curious about how she gets along with wizards, being a sorcerer. Because it's such a different, such a different way of going about it. So if we do run into this wizard, I'm sure that will not go well. Folks can find me right now. There is a story bundle put together by Sifwa that is basically around the theme of spellcasters, of all different kinds, and it's got one of my books in it. So if you're interested in spellcasters at all, in a whole bunch of different sort of like backgrounds, from mine's urban fantasy, but they have epic fantasy, all kinds of everything. Check that out. Story bundle is great. You not only give to charity, but you can choose sort of how much you want to pay for the main bundle or the bonus books, and it's great. So check that out.
Yeah, I've done story bundles before, and they're good stuff. John Helfers did that. Is the editor for that, isn't he? Is he the editor for the story bundle from Sifwa, or is it another one?
I think so.
Because I thought I saw that. I thought I saw that linked somewhere, and I was like, oh, John, who is well known to people on this channel as one of the players in one of my other campaigns. It is him. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's cool.
Curated by him.
Very, very cool. So then highly recommend it. Rhiannon's an excellent writer. And besides that, spellcasters, what's not to love? Good stuff. Thank you. And I'm really happy again, crew, that we're back in the saddle here. We will try to make that happen. Our goal, chat, is to get to 2 times a month. That's our goal. It's a goal that is out there. It's a brass ring that we will reach eventually, I swear to God. But we're going to try. In the meantime, though, it is great to have this crew with me. So can we get some love and thanks to the amazing members of the Expedition of the Mysterious Peaks crew. Thank you to Rhiannon Held, to Toya Kristen Finley, to LaShawn M. Wannick, and to Zach Clay. Good work, everybody. I will see you folks soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye for now. Alrighty. Good stuff. I still got the tavern celebration music playing in the background. I love me a good tavern scene. It's always fun to be able to add in little quirks and things like that. I think a lot of these things, if you ever stop at a place that's sort of like a local, how would I describe it? If you stop in like sort of a local, hold on a second. I got my players are going wild with dice rolls. Let me get rid of that. And let me exit the game like that. Okay. But if you ever stop at like you're sort of like traveling from somewhere and you stop in like a restaurant or a tavern or something like that, and it's sort of like the town the time forgot type of thing, you'll find characters like this, right? You'll find people that are just sort of these things that everybody in the town knows and everybody understands who they are, and they're all sort of like this certain kind of person. They're like, oh yeah, that's just this person, and they're quirky and they're completely authentic, like exactly just the way that they are. So I love it to be able to have characters like that sometimes that the players glom onto. And, you know, sometimes players respond differently. I've had situations where they're just kind of like, yeah, whatever, that guy. And they go on and they're really interested in this other guy. And that's totally cool, you know. But it was fun getting a chance to see them interact in a tavern environment. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they're going to handle stuff with the sisters, which is going to be its own unique challenge in its own way. There's things going on below the surface, and we'll see how they manage all of it as we go through. That, however, is going to do it for me for tonight. That'll be the case until Tuesday, when I will have 2 streams. One will be around noon Eastern, and Tari Toons and I will be back for our Gamebook illustration stream. We'll be doing the playthrough of the Car Wars Fuels Gold, still one of my favorite names for a gamebook. We've started playing that. We're going to continue it, and Tari will be illustrating it live as per usual. Then I will be over at GOGCom's Twitch channel with Pen and Pixels at 4 p.m. Eastern, and I will be continuing my playthrough of the Lamplighters League on Pen and Pixels, and that will be my last pre-Worldcon stream. My daughter and I are going to be flying out to LA the next day, and then we will be out there that night, and then I've got a panel Thursday. I'm going to be moderating a panel on Tolkien and Le Guin. Then I've got a panel on Friday. I have a panel which I was added to recently, which is cool, which is about populating fantasy worlds. Hint, it's not just kings and queens and princes and princesses. There's more to it than that. And then I'm going to have that live D&D event that I've been talking about with a bunch of really awesome authors and people like that. I'm going to be running my Night at the Forbidden Library for them. And it's going to be a live in-person event in front of an audience, so I'm excited for that. It's going to be good times. That's happening on Friday night. Then Saturday is going to be a virtual reading, so I'll be doing a reading from somewhere that has internet access, I guess. That'll be on Saturday, and then Sunday at Worldcon, I will have one panel, remaining panel, which will be on collaborative storytelling, basically through gameplay, and that'll be happening on Sunday, and then we will be returning, I think either Sunday night or Monday, I can't remember, and we will be home at that point, and then that week will be normal streams pretty much on that Tuesday and Thursday, and then that weekend is Labor Day weekend in the United States, and after that, pretty much Labor Day weekend is my Memorial Day weekend. I always think of as sort of like the traditional beginning of summer, really, even if it's not officially summer. That's what I always imagine it to be. I always think of Labor Day as the official end of summer, basically, even if it's not officially that way, it's theoretically that way. So Labor Day, that'll be it, and then we'll be moving into fall. Fall looks like it's going to be very busy, both in terms of academic work, in terms of union work, in terms of writing work. I have some potentially very good news on all those fronts. Hopefully good news on the union front, but definitely some good news on the academic and especially the writing front that I am looking forward to being able to share soon, TM, although I can't do it quite yet, but soon. But that's all going to be happening later on. So I will see you lovely folks back here on Tuesday, again at noon Eastern for the Car Wars Fuels Gold Gamebook playthrough plus illustration by Tari Toons. So I'm excited for that. And otherwise, I hope you enjoyed what you saw and heard tonight. If so, I hope you will follow the channel. I hope you will check out our YouTube. Thanks for those who are watching over there. Please do subscribe over there. It is making a difference. We've gotten a lot of new subscribers there of late, so please keep doing that. ! ArvTube. Please do as well join us on our Discord, ! ArvCord. Really cool place to hang out with everyone in between streams. Definitely make sure to follow me on Blue Sky, ! ArvSky as well. And website for this, arvaneleron.com. Financially, ! ArvShop. That's the merchandise area. ! ArvTreon is that Patreon, trying to build that back up into triple digits. So please join us for that. You can get cool stuff there for you and for the channel. Same thing if you sub to the channel. You can get cool stuff for subbing to the channel, including those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch, and inspirations to help the players. That's always very helpful. On the publishing front, ! Icarus, my graphic novel, ! Library, my Tales and Tomes, The Forbidden Library, that's my 5e adventure and sourcebook, and ! Greyshade is my Greyshade IP. Greyshade, Renegade, Heretic, the Grey Assassin Trilogy, critically acclaimed, award-winning. You can get those at that link. You can get the You can get the audiobooks, that's what I'm looking for, from our very own Trent Sparks at that link, Grey Shade, Renegade, and Heretic, right at that link. And you can pre-order the tabletop role-playing game of Grey Shade, coming to you from our very own Brandon O'Brien as well. Very excited for all those things to be released. As always, exclamation point BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation point Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And exclamation point Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message will do so for others in the future. Again, thank you to the people of Minnesota, specifically Minneapolis, the people of Biddeford, Maine, people of Memphis, Tennessee, people of Newark, New Jersey, continuing to fight against federal invasion and occupation. We see you. We love you. It is making a difference. We are winning this together. So please keep it up, and thank you for the inspirational work that you folks do every day. I want to thank everyone who made this an awesome stream. Thank you to Prince Justin, who was here earlier. Thank you to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to Herxina. Hey, Herxina. Thank you to Jagtris. Thank you, as always, to Nonstop, to R.S. Orden, to T-Bone Jenkins, to Triffity Matz, to Valerian Gamer. Thank you to all my subs, Patreon subscribers, mods, all of those good things, and wonderful people. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I will see you folks back here on Tuesday for, again, the always a pleasure, Valerian. Thanks for being here. I will see you folks on Tuesday back here for our gamebook illustration stream of Car Wars Fuels Gold. Until then, everyone, please be good to each other and have a good night.